What is up, guys? Stark here. In today's character spotlight, I am taking a look at Shuwen, who is going to be another one of the rated up servants for the Journey to the West event. So he is a 4-star Lancer who's going to go up to level 80, and at level 80 he's going to have 11,360 HP and 9,653 attack. So overall that will rank him 51st in HP and 35th overall in attack. Now I did record this before, or I did make the graphics for this before Sansan came out, so technically there's 112 characters, not 111, but that's not really going to throw off his ranks too much here. He's just going to drop down 1 to 100, or 52 and 36 out of 112. But enough about that. If you do decide to max out Shuwen completely, he will end up with 15,774 HP and 13,688 attack. So as for his servant skills, he does have a very good set of skills, and the first one is going to be the Chinese martial arts A+++. Lots of pluses in there, you can't just make it an S. Anyway, it's going to apply sure hit for 1 turn, as well as increase his critical strength for 1 turn, and this critical strength increase is going to be 50% at level 1, and it will go up to 100% at level 10. Next up is the second skill, which is going to be the Sphere Boundary B. This will apply evasion for 1 turn, as well as increase his critical star gather rate for 1 turn. And this will be a 300% gather rate at level 1 and goes up to 500% at level 10. And then for his third and final skill, it's going to be the Juzhao B, which is going to apply ignore invincibility for 1 turn, as well as increase his arts card effectiveness for 1 turn. This is a very unique skill for Lancers, as they primarily focus on either Buster or Quick, but he's going to be more of an arts card Lancer, which is really cool. It's very unique in his own right, and the increase for that is going to be a 30% increase at level 1, and it'll go up to 50% at level 10, which is an insane buff, as well as applying ignore invincibility. He's just going to shred any type of defense the enemy can throw at him. Moving on here to his class skills, he does only have one, and is going to be the Magic Resistance D, which will increase his debuff resistance by 12.5%. So next up, let's go ahead and talk about his Ascension. For his Ascension Materials, he's going to need 4 Lancer pieces and 500,000 Quantum pieces for his first Ascension. For his second Ascension, he's going to need 10 Lancer pieces, 15 Dragon Fangs, and 150,000 Quantum pieces. For his third Ascension, he's going to need 4 Lancer Monuments, 8 Octuple Crystals, 3 Claws of Chaos, and 500,000 Quantum pieces. And then for his final Ascension, he's going to need 10 Lancer Monuments, 5 Claws of Chaos, 4 Dragon's Reverse Scale, and 1.5 million Quantum pieces. And then if you want to level up one of his skills from 1 to 10, you're going to need 14 Gems of the Lancer, 14 Magic Gems of Lancer, 14 Secret Gems of Lancer, 12 Octuplet Crystals, 30 Dragon Fangs, 40 Void Dusts, 12 Warhorse's Horns, 1 Crystallized Lore, and 27,200,000 Quantum pieces. So now moving on here to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm. As I said previously, he does have a very unique command card deck, having 2 Quick, 2 Arts, and 1 Buster, which is primarily really weird for Lancers. Not many Lancers focus on the Arts category. As I said, they primarily focus on Quick and Buster, and he does have 2 Quick as well, so he can focus on that if need be. And then for his Noble Phantasm, it is also going to be an Arts, which is also very unique, as he is the only servant currently on Global who has a single target Arts Noble Phantasm in the Lancer class, and is going to deal significant damage to a single enemy that ignores defense, as well as having a chance to inflict death on that enemy with the overcharge, as well as decreasing the defense of that enemy for 3 turns should they survive. So this is a really good Noble Phantasm. As I said, is the only single target Arts Noble Phantasm for Lancers, and is going to do a ton of damage that ignores defense. And you know, you could get lucky and try and kill them with a 80% chance at death at level 5. Starts off at 40%, which is still pretty good in its own right. So now for some of the craft essences you could use. First up is going to be his Maximum Bond craft essence, which is going to be the skill that rivals the gods, and while equipped it will increase Arts card effectiveness of all of your allies by 15% while in the field. So it's going to be your generic Arts card craft essence, but it's actually going to be a pretty solid option if you do get it. If not though, you can go ahead and use your standard craft essences to increase the Arts card performance, so you could use the projection for the 15% increase or formal craft for the 25% increase. You could also use another ending, which will give you a little bit of the Arts card increase, as well as giving you a little bit of crit strength. So it's a pretty good option. I'd probably recommend using this one if you do have it. It is a pretty good option to go with. So now let's go ahead and talk about some of the servants you can combo this character with. First up, we're going to talk about Vlad. So why not take the two oddities from each of their respective classes and throw them together onto a single team? Vlad is very unique in the fact that he's primarily a quick berserker as opposed to a buster berserker, and Lee is primarily an arts lancer as opposed to being a quick lancer. So, you know, throwing them together is actually a really good combination. They're going to have lots of arts cards in their decks to combo and get their Noble Phantasms gained, you know, that much faster. And then they also can combo off of each other's Noble Phantasms. So for Vlad, like, he's going to generate critical stars, which is really good for Lee, you know, because he has his skills to absorb the stars, and that'll help with his critical strength. So overall, it's just a very good combination for the Noble Phantasms. And then for Lee, you know, you're going to decrease the defense of that enemy, which is going to help Vlad do a little bit more damage with his normal attacks. So overall, it's just a very good combination. Next up, another good option you could use is Shuwen Doji, who just came out in the previous event. She has a pretty arts heavy deck as well, but she also does have the two quick cards, so you can get arts chains and quick chains if you combo her together with Lee. And then with her Noble Phantasm doing all sorts of debuffs, it's just going to work really well with Lee to just combo together and just do a lot of damage. She does also have that second skill, which will help increase Lee's attack for 3 turns. Most of his buffs only last for 1 turn, or they all last for 1 turn really. So, you know, having a little bit of extra buffs from another character certainly wouldn't help make this character do a little bit more damage. So next up, we're going to have Waver and Tamano no Mai. Again, these characters are absolutely fantastic on any sort of team, but since Lee does primarily focus on arts cards, having 2 of the best caster supports, or just supports in general in the game, is going to be fantastic. You know, Waver's there, they all have lots of arts cards in their decks. You can use Waver to increase the Noble Phantasm, increase his attack and his defense, and fill his gauge up as well as increasing his critical strength. And then for Tamano no Mai, you can use her skills to heal. You know, you have the arts chains. You can use her skills to decrease the cooldowns of Lee's skills because they start, you know, a little bit high, starting at 9 turns. So overall, you know, I just don't really have much to say about those two outside of everything I've said in pretty much every other video I've ever made. They're just fantastic, and they combo really well with Lee. So now for his actual star rankings. First up, for his stats, he's going to get a 3.5 out of 5 for his stats. He's a little bit above average for his Lancer counterparts, and overall he just has some very solid stats, almost getting top 50 in both HP and attack. For his skills, I'm going to give him 3 out of 5 stars here. He's got a very good kit of skills. You know, he's pretty much geared towards piercing the enemy's defense whenever possible, and he does a really good job of that. He does have that second skill, which will help with his survivability. Next up, for his Noble Phantasm, he's also going to get 3 stars here. As I keep saying, it is the only single target arts Noble Phantasm for Lancers, and he'll definitely find his way into a lot of teams because of that, you know, on arts teams and things like that. And it's a really good Noble Phantasm on its own. You know, does a lot of damage, ignores defense, and it has a chance to kill the enemy as well. And then for his survivability, again, he is going to get 3 stars here. You know, naturally, he's a Lancer, so he has evasion skill. And, you know, it's going to be a 1-turn evasion skill, so you could use that on the Noble Phantasm turn. And just use that to help evade it. You know, those are pretty much the hardest turns to get around when the enemy uses the Noble Phantasm. Especially, you know, because you don't know who they're going to target. So having an evasion is always really nice. Unfortunately, though, it is for 1 turn, not a multiple number of attacks. So, you know, you could potentially waste it if he's not hit. But overall, he does deserve that 3-star in his survivability. And then for his versatility, he's going to get 2.5 stars here. Like I said, he is very unique in the fact that he works on arts teams. So there are a limited number of teams you can use with him because of that. But the teams you can use him on are very good. And he's very good at, like I said, piercing the defense. So anytime you have an enemy with really high defense or things like that, you could just throw him on the team. You're going to do a ton of damage, and you don't even have to worry about the defense at all. Unfortunately, though, his buffs only last 1 turn, so he does need a little bit of outside help to kind of combat that, and his Noble Phantasm generation is pretty poor. It's, I believe, the lowest in Lancers. So, you know, he definitely needs help there to help his Noble Phantasm go, which is primarily why you want to throw him together with other arts cards and characters that can increase his Noble Phantasm gain and kind of combat his weaknesses. But because of that, there are a limited number of servants you can actually use with this character effectively, so, he's just going to get the 2.5 stars for versatility. Overall, though, that does give him a 3 out of 5 for his ranking. He is a very solid 4-star Lancer, and you know, if you guys watched my previous videos, you know that I just pulled him, so I'm going to be working on leveling him up, and I really do like this character. He also seems to be one of the rarest characters. I really had a hard time finding anybody who had this character to use for his video, but I finally found someone, so I'm happy about that. So that's going to wrap up this character spotlight, guys. I will leave you here with his Null Phantasm, and don't forget to check out the links below for the Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Patreon, and I'll see you guys next time.